Hi, I'm Dr. Michelle Pedicola, founder of Second Chance Secrets and Secrets of Life and Death. And I'm here to talk to you about being a motivational speaker in this new online arena. It's really important what I have to share with you today. It could save you bundles. If you have been a motivational speaker, leader, or change maker, and you have been maybe actually making a business out of getting paid, speaking in person, you have suddenly discovered, hi Barry, thank you for joining. You have discovered that this new reality is a major learning curve, that you have to learn a new way of addressing your audience. It's not the same, is it, as speaking with people live in person, where you feel their energy and you have that interaction and you get excited and you like build your audience enthusiasm, like you're building a symphony. It's awesome. And I used to do that, and I did it for a long time, and I love it. Although I do have to admit that it was not the easiest way to make a living. It was only one of my income streams. What I learned very early on is that I needed other products and services in order to make my business work. Maybe you've learned that. Maybe you've been getting along just fine. But there are two things that are now requiring you to step up in a different way. One of them is that you cannot speak in person. So your income from that money stream is no longer happening, at least for now. Number two, and this is what I found out a long time ago, is that when you are speaking as a motivational speaker, you get people all excited, you inspire them, they are committed to changing, and then they go home and they stay the same. Have you ever noticed that? When I started, I had a documentary film series, and I actually did workshops. They would be like, an hour, maybe 2-hour workshop, and people would get all excited, and then they would go home and they would go back to the way they were before. And I learned pretty quickly that if I wanted to make a change that lasted, people needed more interaction. They needed more connection with me than simply seeing me for 45 minutes or an hour. And so I started developing a coaching business. It was pretty complex. And of course, I was just starting out, and so I went with coaches who were very, very successful. And they taught me a plan that was rather complicated. And it involved upgrading and upgrading into having a larger and larger business. So you started out small and you tried to make a lot of money selling your coaching program. And the coaching program was usually developed out of a formulaic process. People either gave you your niche, your coaches either gave you your niche, or they based it on what you had been doing so far. And I saw a lot of potential coaches fall by the wayside because they didn't really get the training they needed in how to create a really impactful program. Anyway, to go on, I learned their method, but what I found was that in order to continue, you had to keep on growing your business. So pretty soon what you're doing is you're being an administrator. You are being a promoter. You are creating your own events instead of somebody else paying for them. And the worst thing of all is that when the technology changes, you have to upgrade. Well, the technology has changed, the situation has changed, and now we are in a whole new arena, which is speaking online. And that's why I'm speaking to you today, is how can you make that translation from speaking in person to online? And maybe you're thinking, okay, I'll just wait. Well, it may be a long time. Can you really last that long? Maybe if you're independently wealthy, you might be able to, or maybe you have really great investment in stocks, you might be able to wait. But if you're not able to wait, if you can't depend upon a spouse to support you, then you're going to need to find out how to do this. And you want to know the truth? If you learn how to do this, it's actually going to make you more successful. It's actually going to make your business model easier. You won't be dependent upon getting speaking gigs all the time. You won't have to travel as much. I did meet a woman who had a successful speaking business, traveling all over the country. When I met her, she was ready to hang up her luggage. She was tired. She was tired of being out there. And even if you were one of those high-paid motivational speakers, maybe you made $5,000 a gig, how many speaking gigs would you have to do a year to make $100,000 that you could actually use, as opposed to paying off all of your traveling expenses and clothing and all the rest of the hidden expenses that you have to deal with when you are a public speaker? Now, don't get me wrong, I love public speaking, but I'm suggesting that it may be time for you to develop a different approach. And that's why I'm actually offering a workshop next Monday. It'll be at 1:30, and I'm going to post it in my group. The link, it's going to be a Zoom call. You don't have to register. It will also, I believe, if I get it figured out, will also appear in the Share Your Brilliance Training Facebook group. And I'm going to be going over what you need to be successful, a successful high-end coach. Now let me explain what I mean by high-end coach. There are kind of like two approaches. Although I didn't ever know that this other approach occurred until I found my coach. And it was like coming home. So there's the start low and trick people into getting into your high end, or develop a relationship where they finally get into your high end. Or there's the high end approach where you attract people on the high end level, and then if they need a taste, you give them your low end program. Now the first one, the low end to high end, is a very, very complex system. Hi, thank you for joining. It's a complex, multi-layered, multifaceted system that costs buco bucks, because it's based upon attracting a large number of people and then hoping that some of them are going to sign up for your low-end program and then eventually sign up for your high-end. Now, my coach, who is a high-end coach, has been playing around with funnels, and what she finds is that the people who come through the funnels, the long extended marketing and promotion and buy this and then move on to this and move on to that, are not her high-end clients. High-end clients don't come to you that way. So there's a whole different way of approaching high-end clients. But let's talk a little bit more about the low-end approach, because I've been studying this and seeing how, and I've been trying to do it for a while too, the magnitude of the learning curve that you have to deal with is humongous. First of all, you need to reach a large number of people in order to make this work. You're trying to sell low-end programs so that you can survive. And low-end programs could be something like $299, $499, under $1,000. And usually it's just a program, it's a self-study program, and then you hope that people will move to the next level. In order to do that, you need to have a big mailing list. You need to have a big following. So there are a number of things that you need to have. One is repetition. Unlike when you speak in person, you don't have the same credibility. People need to see you over and over again to get the sense that they can trust you. It takes time. It's like Dating, it takes a while for people to get to know you. Whereas in speaking in person, you have the credibility of the promoter who's invited you, and they actually get to see you and speak to you. And so that creates a credibility that is just unsurpassable. Online, it's a different story. You have to develop that credibility. You have to develop that following. You don't have a promotions person. So you have to promote yourself. Now, the low-end approach is that you need a huge number of people. The high end is you don't need a huge number of people. You just need the right people. And that's what I'm going to be talking about in my workshop, is how you need and can attract your perfect clients. So back to the low end, the moving parts. Now, some of the things they said are really, they are saying right now is really true. One is that you need visibility. People need to get to know and like you and hear you speak. Number two, you need reach. Well, yes, you need some reach, but maybe not as much reach as these big impact, low-end coaches are talking about. You don't need the thousands. You just need the right number of the right kind of people. And you need to mesmerize them so that they watch you, instead of it being kind of like, oh, I just sort of happened upon you and you have a pretty smile, so I'm going to take a look at you. And then finally, you need to have a message. That is what you have to offer. Now, this is, for me, the most important part. For the high end, it's your message that really makes the difference. It's what you have to offer. It's your skills, your ability, your motivational message. That is what makes you different from everybody else. And in order to do that, you need to have, in order to have high-end clients, you need to have a high-end offer. You need to have a high-end program that is going to attract those high-end clients. So get this picture. Low-end, many, many people, many applications and technology that you need to learn. Let me mention a few. You need funnels. You need mailing lists, big mailing lists, thousands of names. You need to pay for your mailing list. You need a CRM. This is a client management system to keep track of your people, because you have so many people that you can't possibly remember them all. You need lead magnets. That is something to get them into your funnel. You need a shopping cart for people to pay for what you're doing. You need a funnel system that has people going in and out every step of the way, a flow chart for everybody to follow along. And these people, if they don't do this, then you give them another message and then they come back around. It's complicated. You need a team to manage your system. So eventually you become a manager rather than a coach. You need an integration app to make sure that all the different management systems, all the different systems are speaking to each other. And oftentimes you need affiliate partners, people who are going to send those large numbers of people, because if you build this on your own, it's going to take you years. So that's the low end approach. That's the get a lot of people into your funnel and then they all come down to what you want. What I'm suggesting is let's start at high end. And by high end, I mean 5-figure offers, 5-figure and above offers. So you're reaching a very specific kind of clientele, people who are highly motivated. And oh my goodness, they are the best people to work with. You want motivated clients. You don't want whiners. You don't want controllers. You don't want complainers. You want people who are really passionate about what they do. And you are inspiring their passion through your motivational speaking, through your inspiration. You are attracting your perfect clients, the clients you are meant to serve. How do you do that? Well, I'm going to be talking about that in my workshop. But let me give you a few keys. Whereas in the low end, they end with your message. In high end, you begin with your message. That is, what do you have to offer? If you know what you have to offer, if you're really clear, if you know it makes a difference, it's going to have a huge influence on your message. It's going to have a huge impact on how you show up online. You show up more confident. You show up more as a leader. So your first order of business is to make sure that you have a high-end offer. Number 2, you need magnetizing communication. You've already got this. You're an inspirational speaker. You're a leader. You're a change maker. You got this down. However, you may need a little bit of tweaking because speaking online is different from speaking in person. When you speak in person, you are having to fill a whole room. So you, in some ways, have to be bigger than life, more dramatic, more exciting. Whereas when you're speaking online, you're speaking to your people person to person. On your side, it feels very alienating. Like, oh my gosh, you don't even see the people, right? You're looking at a tiny little lens. And yet you need to connect with those people on the other side. You need to feel them. You need to develop your intuitive ability to psychically connect with those people who are on the other side and tell them what they need to hear. So that's number 2. Number 1 is a high-end offer that is a real high-end offer. You can't take your old offer and just add a few zeros on the end of your charge. You actually need to develop a high-end offer that delivers rapidly, quickly, decisively. For example, one of my high-end clients came to me and she was having trouble with her husband, and because he has a life-threatening illness, he was interrupting her all the time. And she has her own business that she's working on. She was getting very frustrated. And in the first session, we handled that. We handled that problem. And now she's learning to step into her power, her authenticity, her true speaking voice, and develop programs that really serve her clients. So that's what I mean by high end. So high end and a magnetizing, mesmerizing message that every time you show up on Facebook Live, every time you show up on YouTube, you show up as your authentic self. Now, if you've been used to being dramatic, which was what I was. In fact, I didn't know that I had a problem. I actually thought I was doing great, except that I wasn't really enrolling people very well. And I was having to convince them on the enrollment call. Wouldn't you like to get on an enrollment call where people already know that they want your business? And it only takes 15 minutes to get them signed up? Yeah, totally different. Lovely. So you need to show up authentically, and that may take getting over some habits. I know that I had to get over my habit because I had a habit of being the intellectual nerd, of giving a lot of information and overwhelming people, actually, and hiding behind that instead of really showing up and being a human being. No worries. I can actually show you how to do that. I can give you practices that will help you get there. So let's see, the final one is you need a system. You need a system not as complicated as the low end. Not all those CRMs and this and that and a big management team, and you will need to have some kind of shopping cart. PayPal works just fine. You will need to have a Facebook presence. You will need to show up. You will need to get over your resistance to showing up on Facebook Live and speaking to a tiny lens. You will need to have a system for getting people to take the next step. And I'm going to be talking about some of this on my workshop, and it's next Monday. It's going to be at 1:30 Pacific time. And I will post in the Facebook group, this one, Share Your Brilliance Trainings, the link. So you do not have to register. And in fact, I believe if you show up in the Facebook group, you will be able to see my live presentation on Zoom. So you don't even have to show up. But if you want to show up on the Zoom, by all means, come on the Zoom, because then I can actually interact with you. And maybe we can do some work right then and there. I can certainly answer your questions a lot quicker and a lot easier. So I want to go back again to the low end. So it's costly. My coach, who had recently been exploring the ClickFunnels approach, said that she spent thousands and thousands of dollars. And usually that low-end offer, all that does is pay for your expenses. It doesn't pay your bills. What was the really telling thing was that she didn't get the quality clients. She said, my high-end clients are not going through ClickFunnels. They are connecting with her on Facebook Live. They are listening to her. They're listening to her messages, just as you are listening to my message, just as your clients are going to listen to your message, just as your audience is going to start being interested in what you have to say. And it's a way more easy system than the low-end approach, where you have to have all this management. You need to spend thousands of dollars. You need affiliate partners. You need to spend a lot of money on them. Do you want referrals? Absolutely. But you want referrals from happy clients, because they will really enable you to sign up the people that are right for you. What else? Okay, so this big, huge, low-end system, it's exhausting. And each step in the whole funnel process requires upgrading and learning and how to market. And of course, the people who are teaching this approach are going to give you a formula. But if you use a formula, you are not going to reach your special people. Okay, the high-end marketing funnel system, ClickFunnels or whatever, will give you all the templates, everything, and you will look like everybody else. A high-end client wants somebody special that is there just for them. So I want you to imagine what it would be like if you had 10 high-end clients. Just 10 clients. And you've got your 100K salary for the year. You've got your 100K income for the year. That's what I'm suggesting. It is doable. It's possible. It does take learning. It does take practice. But join me for my workshop next Monday at 1:30 p.m. Pacific time. You can come here or you can come to the Zoom event, and I'm going to put the link in there, and you can just show up. I'm giving you the link with the password, so you just click on it at the right time and show up and join me. And we're going to go over what it is that you need to put into place to have a high-end package, a high-end offer that's going to get you your high-end clients. And also some of the other things that you need to get in place in order to attract your high-end clients. That's what I have to share today. I hope you found this interesting and useful. Please post your comments, likes, whatever, and ask your questions, because I'm going to be showing up a few more times this week. Maybe in the cemetery. I most like to speak in the cemetery. It's really beautiful. It's really calm. And it just helps me to be more present. And I will probably also show up one time through Zoom just to practice and see where it's showing up. One of those learning curves, but it doesn't have to be huge. It doesn't have to be quite as intense as all the things the low end requires you to do to just begin to get your mailing list. So that's it for now. Be brilliant and take care.